Hello, it is Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to my New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It's a Tuesday puzzle today, so probably slightly more difficult than yesterday, perhaps. Hopefully not too bad. But quickly, before we get into that, I want to remind you about the existence of the Patreon campaign if you would like to support this channel going forward, help make it something sustainable for me, which you can find over at patreon.com/dailysolve, and there's a link in the description field underneath each video. And thank you again to those of you who have left kind comments regarding my, what was to me felt like a very stumbling solve of the Bossword's second competition puzzle in the Fall Themeless League. It's made me a bit more confident about posting those going forward. Like I said, I was a bit conflicted about doing so because I didn't think it was my strongest solve, but people have said it's very helpful for them to see that process being worked through. So I'm very pleased about that. Anyway, that's over on the Patreon campaign, and you can find plenty more bonus videos and other rewards. And then the only other thing to quickly mention before we get into the solve is that I've set up a dedicated Twitter account for the Daily Solve. So if you would like to follow that, it's at twitter.com/thedailysolve or at thedailysolve. And I'll be posting each day as these videos go up, and possibly other things too. I haven't thought about it too much yet, but I figured it should have its own Twitter account. So I made that. And depending on when you see this video, if you see this video right when it goes up, you may well be the very first person to follow that Twitter account. Well, the second person, I suppose, after my personal Twitter account. So you could join me and be the only other follower at the Daily Solve on Twitter. All right, let's get on to... Oh, no. We won't get on to today's puzzle because we still have to deal with yesterday's puzzle. We have to address a couple of clues that have some information supplied kindly by viewers of the channel. First off, Matt Land writes in to let me know that the noble gases are the rightmost group of elements on the periodic table. We filled in one of the noble gases, or noble, yesterday, I suppose, on the crossword, and I couldn't recall if the noble gases line the sort of leftmost or rightmost perimeter, and it is the rightmost. And Matt goes on to also add that the leftmost group is the alkali metals. So there we go. And then the only other little bit to add here today is that Kathy Swope points out that a teacup, which was a dog breed category that I sort of inferred and thought, that sounds right, but I'm not really 100% certain. She explains that a teacup is a size of dog, and the appellation crosses breeds. So Poodle, Pomeranian, and Maltese are the most common breeds with a teacup size, she says, probably. Great. So that is good knowledge. Seems like the sort of thing that might come up again in a crossword, but also just good to know. Sort of an adorable name for a category of dogs, the teacup-sized dogs. Okay, I wonder if I suspect, I would bet, there's an entire cottage industry of photographs of tiny dogs in oversized teacups. I bet if you search for that on Google Images, you'll find plenty of results. That's just a prediction. All right, let's get going. This is a Tuesday crossword constructed by Ross Trudeau, a very prolific crossword constructor. I've seen that name many times. Edited, as always, by Will Shorts. And we can see already that I suspect once we remove the privacy veil, this will have a horizontal line of symmetry. So, vertically mirrored, this crossword, which is not so common in the New York Times crossword. Radial symmetry, much more common. And what I mean by that is if you folded this grid about a horizontal axis... Oh, no, sorry. No, I'm completely misinterpreting this. I apologize. It's a vertical line of symmetry. I don't know what I was thinking there. It's a vertical line of symmetry. So if you were to fold the grid around a vertical axis, the two sides would be mirrored. They would match each other. And that is still less common than radial symmetry, but more common than symmetry around a horizontal axis. Anyway, let's get going. I don't know if that will tie into the theme. It kind of looks like a face, maybe not, or a panda's face. I don't know. Probably predisposed to think it looks like a panda because it's black and white. Part of a door frame. Could be a jamb, door jamb. Let's see. The 1 in a 1-2. Okay. So if this is a 1-2 punch, a right and a left, one of them could be a jab. And actor Baldwin could be Alec Baldwin, and we're sort of filling in the jam here, I think. A dance in a pit could be a mosh pit at a metal or hardcore show. And ingredients in some topical gels, well, it's the plant, the official plant of the New York Times crossword. It is aloe, of course. And the top could be best, and this actually could be top as a noun or a verb. It could be the top, a noun, the best, or it could be I will top your score, I will best your score, a verb. Here we have downloads in the testing phase. Could be beta apps, maybe? Let's try that. Maybe check some crosses to see. Holds onto could be keeps. A genie's locale could be a lamp, magic lamp with a genie. Greek goddess of discord. Oh, interesting. I don't remember that off the top of my head. So let's look at the crosses here. We have fashion's Calvin. Calvin Klein sounds familiar. One who's up at dawn could be an early bird or an early riser. Looks like maybe early riser. A prominent left-leaning political action committee. And that somehow ties into the theme of the puzzle. And we have our revealer here. I think, yes, we do. We do have a revealer. So we have a revealer in an unusual location. Very frequently, the revealer, which is the clue that sort of explains what's going on with the theme or the shared topic of the puzzle, often that will be in the acrosses down towards the bottom of the grid, but sometimes it's not, and in this case, it's not. And in this case, we can see that the revealer, along with the theme answers, form another bit of symmetry about a vertical axis in this puzzle. We can see this cross shape in these two vertical bars. Anyway, let's see. Prominent left-leaning political action committee. I'm actually not sure offhand. Oh, ill-advised. And then baseball rival of boss. I suspect it's New York City. Rival of Boston. Here we have say that you're going. Say. Say that you're going. Say. I don't see that immediately. I apologize. Accumulate could be pile up, maybe. A yard sale caveat might be as is. Items are sold as is. No refunds. I suppose that doesn't necessarily mean no refunds, but I think that's the implication. Persistent little sibling, maybe. A persistent little sibling, maybe. I'm not sure. Here we have pieces of 3 pieces. So a 3-piece suit includes the jacket, the trousers, and the vest. So these would be vests. National Endowment for the Arts is a body in the United States that funds arts projects, unsurprisingly. One of the Smurfs must be Papa Smurfs. And I see. A persistent little sibling maybe is a pest. Oh, Emily's List, I think. Maybe this is. I think helps maybe victims of domestic abuse, possibly. So, right. So this baseball rival of boss for Boston isn't New York City. It's New York Yankees, I guess. NYY. There we go. And then to say that you're going, say, I see. RSVP. I should have gotten there quite a bit earlier. Say that you're going to a party, to something to which you've been invited. The Simpsons storekeeper is Apu. Here we have another one of our theme clues. So we have, right, so we filled out Emily's List, and then here we have a literary trio found in the answers to this puzzle's starred clues. So we see that there are 3 of these theme clues because the one 28 down that we have selected is the revealer. It's not actually one of the theme clues itself. So the starred clues, there are 3 of them. And, I bet it's the Bronte sisters. Emily Bronte here in Emily's List. And then this will be Charlotte, and then what is the actual clue? Children's book whose title character says, "If I can fool a bug, I can surely fool a man. People are not as smart as bugs." This must be Charlotte's Web, about the spider and the pig. And then what does that give us here? Monogram of the Treasure Island author is Robert Louis Stevenson, so RLS is his monogram. Dead even could be all tied up, maybe? Right, so I think in a game, if the scores are tied, you could say they're all tied up, they're dead even. And the dead even gives it a bit of a idiomatic, sort of colloquial phrase. It's sort of conversational as opposed to there's extra. You could simply say even or tied, but dead even. It's a bit more conversational, and so the all tied up similarly is a bit more conversational than simply saying tied. And often in the New York Times crossword, the clues will be written such that they do sort of match that sensation a bit. Okay, California's Big Sur. That is a location in California, and I guess it's a mountain. You know, it's funny. I don't actually know specifically what Big Sur refers to. I mean, it is an area, and you can sort of hike and go skiing there and things. But is Big Sur itself a mountain? Sort of embarrassing that I don't know what the name itself individually refers to. Okay. Main role in Midnight Cowboy, blank Rizzo. Oh, I think Ratso Rizzo, if I recall correctly, but let's check that with some crosses. A globe coverer could be an ocean, perhaps, covers the globe, certainly. Oh, right, sort of forgot about the theme clues here. So the literary trio found in the answers to this puzzle starred clues, as we determined, is the Brontes. And then, let's see, French word in some bistro names. Oh, maybe this is, yeah, I don't think globe cover is ozone. Oh, sorry. I don't think it's ocean. I do think it's ozone. And the reason I think that is because often in many bistro names, they will have this prefix chez, which essentially means the home of or the place of the name that follows. So Chez Paul would be Paul's place or Paul's house, that sort of thing. Okay, so globe coverer would be ozone, the ozone layer that surrounds the planet, and then a game often played with a random number generator. This is probably Keno. I don't really know exactly what Keno is, but I know it's a number-based game often played at casinos that involves randomness somehow, as I suppose most casino games do. I don't know beyond that, but I suspect that's the answer. Let's check this cross. Layered buildup in the Arctic. A little snowpack looks right, but let's keep going with the Brontes crosses here. A small interval for grouping data to a coder. Small interval. Is the Brontes incorrect? What is this? If you're a coder, maybe you know what this is, and I don't. Well, sushi topper could be row, as in, fish eggs. Unwanted discovery in a refrigerator. Clot? As in clotted milk? That doesn't seem right. What is this? Small interval for grouping data to a coder. I'm very sorry if this is very obvious to you. A bin? Affliction for those close to graduation. Right. I suppose this must be bin. Because this, I think, is senioritis. Seniors, as the final grade of secondary school in the United States as the people in that grade are called, often develop the affliction senioritis, where they get sort of lazy as they approach graduation and stop being as fastidious with their studies. So, I see. An unwanted discovery in a refrigerator is odor. And then a radish lookalike could be a turnip, I suppose. A sport with mallets might be polo, the sport of kings, as it's sometimes called. Horse-based, I don't know, sort of football on horses. Big name in petrol is Esso. Teed off. Drove, perhaps, in a golf drive. Does that make sense? 8 in Italian, looks like auto, looks correct. And a hijab is a veil. So, right, so drove, I suppose, is teed off. And then care for cars. Care for, and there's a question mark. So there is some degree of punniness going on in here. Sorry, I just got a message on my phone. I might have to sort of hurry this up because something is slightly urgent. Let's see. Insta uploads could be pics, Instagram uploads, pictures. An unsupported assertion. A title winner. Title winner could be a champion, perhaps. Care for cars. What is this care for cars? Boy, I don't know. Blank Carter 5, 2018 Lil Wayne album. Oh, I think this is the with an A, the Carter 5 or 5th. Let's see. Whom you might contact after an computer crash. Could be an IT guy in this case. Oh, I see care for cars. Very clever. All right. The pun is that, well, it's not so much a pun as much as it is a bit of wordplay. It's a typo. You might type care when you meant to type cars, and the E and the S are fairly close to one another. They do adjoin each other on the keyboard diagonally. So there you go. Care for cars. Care a typo for cars. Hesitant syllables might be ums. And an unsupported assertion, I suppose, is a say-so. Right, and then we haven't seen this clue yet. Part of LGBT is gay. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. So here we have takes classes at. Could be attends, as in a school or university. Okay, a bygone jet for short. Here's a bit of arguably crosswordese, I would say. We haven't encountered this very recently, but it's pretty common in the New York Times crossword. This is most likely SST, which is supersonic transport, I believe, and is an acronym that refers to planes like the Concorde, the now discontinued supersonic jet that traveled between New York and London and New York and Paris. It was a British-French co-engineering feat. And I think there are several airlines now looking to reintroduce supersonic travel. So the SST may eventually no longer be a bygone jet for short. We'll have to see. All right, a high school exam. Here's another thing that many people might know primarily from the New York Times crossword is, I think, the PSAT, which is the practice SAT. So less well-known than SAT, which is, I think, standardized achievement test. And then the PSAT is the practice standardized achievement test. I think that's probably what this is anyway. Wouldn't really fault anyone for not knowing that. It has fuzzy skin, could be a peach. Blank you asked, could be since you asked. Late actor Ed Asner, only recently, sadly, late. And here we have word with immunity or mentality. So herd immunity, herd mentality. I suppose both sort of things we've heard about in the past year or so. What is this? Looks like it's going to be accent. Bit of decor. Well, probably is something accent. You hear, accent walls and things like that in interior design. Isn't blank bit like you and me? Beatles lyric. This is isn't he a bit like you and me from Nowhere Man, the Beatles song. And here we have Muslims, e.g., but not Hindus. Right, so monotheists, a monotheistic religion such as Islam, believes in only one God. And a goat's bleat might be ma. We never looked at our final Bronte clue. Right, so what is this? Chain known for its soft pretzels. Looks like Auntie Anne's. And here we have Anne Bronte. So we've got our three Bronte sisters, Charlotte, Anne, and Emily. And there we go. That completes the theme. A nice, solid theme. And I can't really tell if the geometry of this puzzle is meant to, in any way, tie into or allude to the Brontes. Not really sure. It doesn't really look like it. Sort of an odd grid, though. I wonder. Let me know if there's something being symbolically represented here that I'm missing. Housing in the big house. So the big house, colloquially, is a prison. So a cell would be housing in a prison. And the blahs more formally, so the blahs being a sort of slangy term, might be more formally referred to as ennui, French term for kind of a disaffected depression, I guess. A bit of decor. Oh, here's another. This is sort of similar to the typo clue in that there's something actually typographical going on with respect to the wordplay. Care for cars. Here we have a bit of decor. In decor, we have this acute accent above the E. So that is a bit from the word decor. And the question mark indicates some kind of pun or wordplay. Here we have a furniture item often facing a TV, would be a couch, and rushed old style. This comes up in the crossword. This is hide, as in high and away. It's sort of an archaic or poetic way to describe having rushed hide. Okay, catch as fly balls. I don't know, would you refer to that as snagging a fly ball? I'm not really sure, so let's move on. Writer Ephron would be Nora Ephron, the journalist and screenwriter and novelist. Here we have October birthstone. An opal must be based on the crosses and number of letters. A wish is a hope, part of the UAE. This is the United Arab Emirates, so this word would be Arab. And then here we have blank pal. Could be gal pal, perhaps. So is catching a fly ball referred to as shagging a fly ball? It's kind of odd. I have no idea. That isn't familiar to me and strikes me as slightly strange, but let's try it. Yeah, I guess it is. Okay, so that was the Tuesday puzzle. I got very distracted. I was sort of serially distracted from the theme, so I should have probably gone in and filled it immediately. Some commenters on these videos tend to get a bit impatient with me when I don't go ahead and fill in as many of the theme answers as I can once I've identified what it is. I sort of forgot to in this case, but that's okay. We solved the puzzle. It was a Tuesday puzzle. Not too bad. I suppose this is one of those theme puzzles that would be, you could probably solve it much more quickly or more slowly depending on whether you identify the theme or not. But this is a relatively straightforward theme, I would say. Let me know how you fared with it. I'm trying to think if there were some particularly difficult crosses. I suppose Fashion's Calvin and Greek Goddess of Discord, although I think Calvin Klein is pretty well known. I always look for the proper nouns, the names, because sometimes those can be tough crosses, because if you don't know them, you just don't know them, and there isn't much you can do about it. But I think Calvin Klein is pretty straightforward. And then Eris, I never actually looked back at once I'd gotten that with the crosses. And that, I suppose I just don't remember that goddess particularly well. When I was growing up, I think like a lot of children, I was very much into Greek mythology, but I'm sure plenty of it has left my brain at this point. Ratso Rizzo would probably be obscure. Oh yeah, yes, actually, Big Sur and Ratso Rizzo, that looks like a tough cross to me. Big Sur I know because I primarily grew up in California, and then Ratso Rizzo from the film Midnight Cowboy, but that would be a tough cross, I think, if you were missing both of those pieces of knowledge, which would be easy enough to be missing. I don't know. The small interval for grouping data to a coder is a bin. I mean, I don't know what that is, but it sounds plausible enough. You see, sometimes you'll see folders on computers labeled things like bin, so maybe that's what that means. I don't know. Okay. New York, NYY rather than NYC as a counterpart to boss, which is, reads like a city code or, an airport area code, things like that. That was a maybe very subtle misdirection for those of us who are less sports informed. And I guess we doubled up the baseball clues with, I assume, this shag a fly ball to be a baseball clue. Anyway, there we go. That was the puzzle. I thought it was pretty fun, and do let me know if you understand what's going on with this geometry here, if anything. It may be nothing, but it's just so uncommon to have non-radial symmetry. I mean, it happens. It's not unheard of, but it's certainly less common. So I'm curious if it's meant to suggest anything about the theme. So that was that. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to the channel. And you will see these videos as they go up each day, or you can choose to see them anyway. If they go up each day, you don't have to. But if you subscribe, it will be easier to do so. And if you think you know someone who might enjoy this series, do pass it along to them. They might be able to tell me what this geometry is all about in this puzzle, and that would be helpful. And finally, if you particularly enjoy this series and would like to help contribute to its ongoing sustainability, head over to the Patreon campaign and see if any of these reward tiers that start at £3 a month, or the equivalent in your local currency, are appealing to you and have anything you might enjoy, like all of that bonus video solving content that's up on there, as well as enhanced access to the public Discord chat server. And actually, regarding the Discord chat server, I did the thing I said I might do yesterday, and I split out the Other Crosswords channel into a new Other Crosswords channel and what I called the Constructor's Corner, which is dedicated to crossword construction. Because as I've been mentioning recently, there's been a whole little community of crossword constructors that has sprung up in the Discord channel, with people sharing their newly constructed crosswords and taking feedback from one another. And it's been really great. And I've enjoyed solving them myself and giving some feedback. It's been very fun. So head over to there. You can join the Discord with a link underneath the video, or if you subscribe to the Patreon campaign, you can also get access to additional benefits there. And finally, some people who are particularly generous in the Patreon campaign are recognized in these videos for that generosity. And today, I would like to very much thank Skelechicken and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, which those two names together sound like some kind of sort of edgy cartoon series or something, Skelechicken and Hood Monster. So thank you to both of you. I hope you have plenty of entertaining escapades and adventures together. And I appreciate your support on this channel. And I suppose that's it. I will be back tomorrow, of course, for the Wednesday puzzle, and I hope you join me for that puzzle. It should be maybe a bit trickier than this one, but still on the approachable side. And until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Tuesday. Take care.